And for whatever reason, you have a closed mind. I don't know why. Perhaps you could tell me.
You are now listening to the Latino Free Mind podcast. Enjoy the show.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Latino Free Minds, episode 128. What's up, Danny? How you doing, man?
Good. We're already at 128.
Yeah, 128. It's crazy, huh?
Pretty crazy.
And we're already in October, too.
I know, man. We were starting to see like Halloween stuff like a month ago. Like what was
I'm
it
seeing
August? Like at the end of August, we started seeing Halloween stuff.
you're probably going to see Christmas stuff tomorrow. They're probably sold out of Halloween stuff already.
They're gonna skip Thanksgiving. I think that's what they did, right? They skipped Thanksgiving last year and went straight to.
Straight to Christmas trees.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's soon
Yeah,
enough, right?
about that time.
Yeah,
Weather's
you'll see all
changing.
that.
I was already thinking about, we go to Apple Hill out to
Mm,
look at the Christmas trees and stuff like that.
mhm. Nice. Yeah, no, it's the weather's been nice. It's not hot. It's just like just right, out
Yeah.
here in October. It's like I think October has like the best weather for this time. You know what I mean? For over here.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man. Yeah, just another day, another week. Um, that lead promo at the beginning is pretty cool.
Yeah. You
Uh,
do you do a pretty badass job. It's
yeah, I
pretty good.
mean they could see all the other shows, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, if you're in Monterey County, Hollister, or anything like that tomorrow, uh, Peter will have Sonia Shaw at his shop at I believe at 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then Karina will have her in Selena's from 12 to 2 p.m. So if you're interested in the education system and the person that is running to fix all that, Sonia Shaw, she will be out in those areas, answering questions and all that good stuff. So if you're in those areas or know someone in those areas, let them know tomorrow. Hollister and Selena's, they'll be out there. So yeah.
Yeah, important stuff, man.
Yeah, important stuff. We're getting close to the special election.
Hmm.
I was telling you right now before we came on, I got the little handbook that they send you. I was reading what it says if you vote yes and if you vote no. So from what I interpreted, yes, a no is in fact a no because we never know, right?
Yeah. So 1 plus 1 is
It's
two
two
in
in
this
this case,
case.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's not 1 plus 1 is 3.
no, we'll have to see if when we get our sample ballots because they usually send that out also. We'll see what it says on there, but for the most part, I can't imagine they'll have a different thing on this book and the sample ballot or the actual ballot, but won't put it past them.
Yeah.
So
I've been thinking that they're the ones that started that rumor that no meant yes and that yes meant no. I
they might have.
just to
I've been
confuse people even more.
yeah, I've been hearing people, you know, in in the legislation actually from the beginning say no, this is a no, and
Mhm.
then out of nowhere, again, it's possible. They do wordplay. We talked about it many times on this show that they'll switch words around to make you think one thing and it's actually the other. So I understand too why people might think that, but that is a good point. It might have just been what do you call it? A tactical maneuver.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hey, but just keep your eye on that if you're in California and you got your little booklet. Just kind of read it through.
That'd
Um,
be a good post for tomorrow or someone to make a clip.
yeah, I was I was
That
thinking of
sample.
I was thinking of doing that with this, just kind of
Mhm.
reading what it says based on this book. That
Yeah.
way, and I'll have a picture of it too. So I'll probably do that for uh, either tomorrow or the day after.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So there's a lot of things that you know, obviously happen throughout the week when we'll go live, and then a week later we're here. Um, but something that we wanted to talk about is the similarities between both parties, uh, Democrats and Republicans. Obviously, when you kind of hear that, you go, okay, yeah, there's a difference, right? But you've said it a lot of times on here, and Danny. You know, we do have what seems to be a uniparty, right? When you look deeper, when you start to pay real close attention, they do things that you go, wait, I thought you guys were against that, or I thought you guys were, for this. And you kind of start to wonder, right? Um, it's a reality I think that we have here in this country, right? That there's just some people that, regardless of party, they're the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we see it. They fight on TV. They disagree. They make it seem like they're opposing each other.
Hmm.
But they both shut out the competition. If you're not part of, you know, the Democratic or the Republican Party, you don't have a shot. So it's controlling competition, controlling the opposition,
Hmm.
and that's evident. No one can dispute that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To run as an independent,
Good
uh,
luck.
you're not going to win.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that.
yeah.
You're not going to get any support, from lobbyists or any big groups or anything like that.
Hmm.
So basically, if you're not one of them, good luck, getting your name on the ballot is what it comes down to.
Hmm.
And I've been thinking about this a lot because there's a lot of talk about, you know, um, you know, being Republican, being Democrat, uh, you know, being blue, being red, vote blue no matter who type of thing.
Hmm.
And, a lot of people think that because we're conservative, we're just going to back, whoever's on the ticket that's Republican and stuff like that. But I think it's good to talk about this. This is healthy
Hmm.
because if you think about it, you know, we've got a lot of the presidents are two terms in history. I mean, the um, Trump kind of it got broken up with him a little bit. He didn't get the second. He's got it now, but he didn't get it right after. And obviously, Biden is he didn't get a second term. But if you go back to Obama, to Bush, to
Hmm.
Clinton, and going back to Bush Senior, he only got one term. But I guess what I'm trying to say is we don't see that many presidents in a generation,
Hmm.
So if you're pretty young, you just remember the last two presidents or three presidents, and you don't have a good outlook as to what that president brought to the table. But if you step back and you have like a 3,000 foot view, they're actually pretty similar, and the machine is the same machine if you think about it.
Hmm.
And if we're gonna make any changes moving forward, we have to support the right people and understand that we the people are going up against the machine, and we have to understand how the machine works and what to look out um, with the machine.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
No, no, it makes sense. And then kind of what you were saying, right? It is a two-party system. And if you do happen to run as an independent, it's tough. It's tough. It's like, in a sense that we always say the establishment, right? And that means establishment on both sides. There's Republicans that have been in there for decades, and you know have they really done anything? No. Same with Democrats. There's Democrats that have been in there for decades. Have they done any, they don't do term limits, which just kind of goes to show that they protect their self-interest. Um, like you said, there's it's really impossible to have a viable, legit third party
Yeah.
based on those two machines.
Yeah. Well, they serve corporate and donor interests. Is I think it's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know,
Money.
yeah, exactly. It's all about the dollar. It's all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, so okay, so I was telling you right now before we went on, and this is one example, and you could just imagine, you know, how these lobbyists, these donors, these PACs really influence in keeping these machines in place. So, I had seen I think it was yesterday that I saw that uh, Israel is paying U.S. influencers $7,000 per post. You know, that's insane. I mean, we like for example, we post daily, right, on different topics. Right now we're heavily focused on California things, right? We got special election, like we mentioned earlier. Um, and all that stuff comes from us, what we see here in our state, what's happening, stories we hear about, and stories we didn't hear about, and we kind of found out it late because again, we don't know everything. We learn as we go. Um, but it's it's crazy to think that people are getting paid $7,000 per year to make pro-Israel propaganda, really. And that's I mean, what do you think of that? Like, because that kind of goes into that, like, big money like that keeps the machine in place. You know what I mean? And that's just one example. So imagine all the other ones that we probably don't even know about.
yeah, that's that's hitting the nail on the head because are these people that are creating the content, do they really believe in what they're creating and what they're putting out there, or is it just for the dollar?
I mean, 7,000 per post. I guess, do you have to believe in it?
I
Like,
mean,
it's I mean, if people are what's the word? If they're driven by money, right, and the income that they can get, then I doubt that they're gonna really care what they're putting out there. They just know, hey, if I put
mhm,
this out there, I'm gonna get $7,000. You know, if I do 5 days, it's 35 grand.
yeah. I think if you do it for the money, you're morally corrupt. This is
Hmm.
what we're doing here, talking about important issues is way more important than money. We're doing it
Hmm.
because this is the future for our kids and grandkids in my case,
Hmm.
and and yeah, you're morally corrupt in my opinion. You got to do it for the right reasons. If not, you're just a sellout mercenary
Yeah,
that
you can be bought, right?
yeah,
And it's
that's it.
just bot influencers. Um, and like I said, it's that's one example. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe a good thing would be like, how many corporate packs are there actually?
Hmm.
Like a number. Big
Yeah,
donors. What does that mean? How many lobbying organizations do we have in total? And that'll give you an idea. It's like, okay, that's all big money. Money influences decision making in our government,
yeah.
and that goes to both parties. Democrats, Republicans. You
And
got
that's the
Wall
part
Street.
that we have to be honest about right there,
Mm-hmm.
is that if we're going to point the finger at the other side, we got to see it when our side is doing it too, or our side is
Mm-hmm.
doing it too. Um, yeah, no, I mean, 100%. It's on both parties, big donors like, Wall Street, big pharma, defense contractors, big tech. Um, All
Yeah.
they care is about winning and having their guy. You know, it's easy. So look, we're talking about people being morally corrupt, right? So if let's take Elon
Hmm.
as an example. I just mentioned big tech, right?
Hmm.
So he was a Democrat for the longest time. He saw the right, in my opinion, he saw the writing on the wall, and all of a sudden he's leaning a little bit more, or a lot more conservative, because who's president now? I mean, who could have predicted that that was going to happen after the disaster, Biden
Biden
created,
was. Hmm.
right? So, do I really think that Elon is moral in doing things um, in the best interest of citizens? I don't think so. I think it's his money, man.
Yeah, I
And
mean, he's a businessman. He's got to make sure whatever policies are put in place don't hurt his business.
yeah,
So yeah, and that's the thing, Elon's a good example, or just any other donor, right? You can you can see if you got the money for it. Like, all you just wait for who wins, and then you approach that person and say, "I'm gonna donate to you, and I just need help with this." And it doesn't really matter what party they're on. They just, hey, this party's got the majority. This party's got, the power to
let's be
make
real.
decisions.
They're giving
I'm
money.
paying for you.
They're giving money
Oh,
to both sides so that whoever ends up being the mouthpiece, it doesn't matter, because they're going to protect their interest. And that's what I'm saying, is that you go back to um, Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton. You can keep going down the line.
mhm,
All of these, big pharma, defense contractors, Wall Street, big tech, have always been protected
mhm. Yeah.
because they're the ones lobbying for these people on both sides, straight up.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it obviously works.
It does. It does.
They're not listening to the citizens. I don't feel like I'm being represented. You feel like you're being represented?
No. I mean, and there's a lot of things that, again, Trump does, and you go, "What?" you know? And who knows, right? Who knows? There's, again, lobbyists, there's PACs, there's people that have influence based on money, and
Dude,
they're gonna
simple.
are they gonna listen to that person over me? More than likely, right now, yeah. You know, and that's just how that's, unfortunately, that's how it is. But we, like you said, at the start of the show, it's like we do have to talk about these things so that
uh,
people realize what's going on, maybe get better informed, and see, like I said, okay, like one thing I think about is how many lobbyist groups do we have, like, total, in this country? How many packs do we have total in this country? You know what I mean? And then
That's
you
disgusting.
you get
Right?
to see how they manipulate the government.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it happens on both sides.
Yeah. And at the end of it, another factor, well, another thing that happens is they expand federal power. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about
Well,
that?
I know everybody loved the, what was it, the Patriot Act after 9/11. Um, you know, and then even I don't, I'm going a little blank on it, but even after, what happened to Charlie Kirk, they were talking about um
Hate speech.
hate speech, yeah, and regulating that. And it's like, no, that's not, it's like
And
they look for opportunities of when we, like, when the people are, you know searching for answers, so to speak.
mhm.
And they do try to provide an answer, but usually that answer is more power for them and less freedom for us. And it's
Yeah,
something that we don't get, we usually don't get those freedoms back.
No, sometimes they're supposed to be temporary, right?
Yeah.
Like Newsom with Prop 50, that's going to be supposedly
Yeah. Yeah.
temporary, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
if
believe
it
them.
passes, I really doubt that they're going to relinquish, that power right there.
Yeah. And man, it was, it's crazy because again, it's both sides. They both support stuff like that. They have in the past, and I'm sure they will in the future.
Yeah.
Um, right now they're going through the I don't know how many shutdowns in the past 4 or 5 fucking years we've been hearing about government shutdown, and then they pass this ridiculously crazy bill with trillions of dollars, and it's like completely the opposite of what was being, promised to us in campaigns. Um, and then they pass it, and then you don't even know what's in there, and then everyone's celebrating, hey, we didn't shut down. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
And then we
that,
get screwed with whatever they pass because
yeah,
they have to cram it through.
yeah, because they're rushing it through.
I looked up the quote from Rahm Emanuel. He was he's a politician. He was one of Obama's advisors. And he said, a crisis should be used as an opportunity to make radical or drastic changes that would be difficult to implement in normal times. So 9/11, you called it Patriot Act. We lost rights. They expanded federal power.
Hmm.
After what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, there's other examples, but the biggest ones that we can think of right now are in hate speech. Your boy Newsom is trying to pass that um, law that would protect classes from hate speech online, finding social media platforms if they do so. More rights taken away and more rights taken away.
Hmm.
So just expanding that federal power, man. That's
It's
and that's both sides. That's both sides
hmm.
that are allowing this to happen. NSA surveillance programs, Snowden exposing part of that, and
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why he's is he still on the run?
yeah, who knows? I mean, where he's at? Wasn't he in Russia? He's been in Russia for the longest time.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. But you know, they do those things, and in a sense, not in a sense, they abuse the power they have and push whatever they want. And I know that this past election cycle, one of the things that was talked about, unless I misheard it, was and kind of sticking to the government shutdown, was that they would they were going to focus on doing single issue bills, so that we didn't have these situations where the government has to do an entire what is it called, continuing resolution, which where they put all these bills together, and it ends up being trillions of dollars. And again, like you said, who knows what's in there, right, until it's already passed, because they rush it through. But like stuff like that, it's like they ran on, we're going to give you single issue bills, so
Hmm.
that you know what we're voting for, you know what it is, you know
Being transparent.
yeah, I
And I
mean,
wonder what their definition of transparent means.
I don't know either. I mean, I would love for them to do something. We have the special election coming up. I would have loved for something to have been done already about election integrity, because I don't care what the leaders in California say. They can say, "Oh, there's no fraud." Well, we've said it many times. You're not going to find fraud if you're not looking for it. You know.
Yeah, you change the rules not to find it. You ain't gonna
Yeah,
find
you
it.
ain't gonna find it. You're gonna have your report say, "Yeah, we got no fraud here." Yeah, of course, there's no fraud. And then you find out a dog voted twice.
Yeah, man. I didn't. I didn't even want to dive into that because I didn't want to get mad. Did you dive into it a little bit?
I didn't dive into it as much. I just saw uh Assemblyman David Tongi post, and then
Hmm.
he was talking about it. And I think the only way that they found out, again, because we're not looking for fraud here, the only way that we found out is because the lady actually admitted to it, to having her dog vote twice in California. Like that's what we're dealing with here. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I wish they would have had like some sort of real election integrity stuff done. I know next week we're gonna have Shiloh Marks on, and he's doing a lot of work with voter rolls, and a lot of them seem to be getting cleaned up. Uh, he's gonna have a bunch of info on that. So if you're in California and you're interested on what's going on there, next week we'll have him on. But we're gonna vote for this thing that determines our representation in this government we're talking about. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
And there's nothing in place yet so that we can fully, not fully, because maybe it might not ever be fully, but for the most part, trust that our elections are honest.
yeah, yeah. That's another reality. Now we got to understand that both parties have allowed that to go on. Let's be real. They play it off as the left is the one that's allowing it to happen, but we've got, if we our representation stepped up and when they've been in office, they could have done something about it.
Hmm.
Um, but why haven't they? You
Yeah.
know, I really doubt that there's a good reason to continue to allow that to happen. Um, but maybe I could get proven wrong. But it's been through Republican presidents and Democratic presidents, and it's
Hmm.
just gotten worse.
Yeah. Well,
Why?
you could say the same thing about immigration.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just gotten worse. It's gone through both parties over and over, back and forth, and
yeah.
it
Not to
just gets worse.
mention military involvement.
That gets worse.
Have you noticed that it's changed now? So instead of actually being boots on the ground,
Hmm.
now they've done this thing to make it acceptable. Is now we're involved by giving them our hard-earned tax dollars to support a certain side of a
Hmm.
conflict overseas. But that's not considered, um,
Being
being
in a war.
being in a war.
Yeah, I mean that's the other part, right? Like both parties will, depending, again, it could probably goes back to who's donating to them,
Hmm.
will support wars overseas indirectly by here's this money for this, right?
Hmm.
How much money did we send Ukraine already for their war? And what's going, like, honestly, what's going on with that? I don't hear about it anymore. During Biden's term, it was all you heard about. Now it's like, is it over? You know,
I mean,
we still did end up giving them weapons, right? Under Trump, or money. I forget
so
which
I
one of the
heard
two.
that they sold them the weapons,
Oh.
but you're right. In regards to giving them more money, I haven't heard that as much. But let's be real. There's a lot of our money being given to different groups that we don't even know about. People don't even know that we've funded Al Qaeda in the past
Mm-mm.
and stuff like that. So if we go down those rabbit holes, we funded Osama bin Laden at one point to fight against Russian
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So, um, and here's the point: both parties did that.
Mm-hmm.
Both parties supported that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Um. You know, that's that's like you said. That's the crazy part. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, acknowledgement, or if this offends people, it offends people. But they're worrying about their fantasy football lineup instead of paying attention to things like that. Is like literally they're giving our money to fund wars, interventions in other countries and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And people don't pay attention because they got us entertained with that type of stuff. So, you
Yeah,
know,
and
I
and even that, right? Even funding wars, right, goes back into that whole Wall Street angle because a lot of these guys and gals have stocks and they know,
Nancy Pelosi's
Pelosi's legit,
husband is
dude.
pretty good.
She
But
should write a book on it or something. I don't know. Have a series, you know. What do
yeah,
you let us know what you do? Because I'm sure it has nothing to do with her being in a position of
power
where she
making
has got where
decisions
she's
and
got intel on potential,
ay, ay, ay.
wars and donations of that sort. But hey, you know, that's just us making stuff up, right?
Yeah, we're crazy. No, I mean, and debt and spending just continues to go up, and
Hmm.
that's on both sides too.
Yeah, and it goes back to the government shutdown.
Hmm.
If they reopen it, what are they going to do? They're going to pass a bill with all kinds of stuff in it and just spend more money.
Yeah.
And then again, they're going to celebrate that they've kept the government open for what is it, like every 6 months we go through this?
Yeah.
And then in 6 months, here we go again. You know, the Democrats shut down the government, the Republicans shut down the government. And it's like, they're not passing anything that solves the solution. Just every 6 months, they kick it down the line. They kick it down the line, and
Yeah.
it's like
What do they say? They kick the can down
they
the
kick the
street,
can down the road, and then they catch up to it again. They gotta kick it again instead of picking that bitch up and just throwing it away.
or
They just
fixing the problem.
they just
Actually,
keep kicking
fixing
it.
problems. That would be nice. Hey, but the sad part about that is that we're the can, dude. That's what we have to understand and realize. We're the can that they're just kicking down the road. They're
Damn.
like, all right, cool, boom. We're
Yeah.
insignificant, but we're the ones that fund them. We're the freaking worker bees that make everything possible.
Yeah. You know, and again, going back to the same, right? Democrats want to spend money on all kinds of social programs to
Hmm.
give everybody free this, free that, free this, free that. And if we're honest, yeah, Republicans do a lot of military type of spending, but they both spend, you know, different things. So one would, some might say, okay, yeah, having a strong military and preparedness for anything would probably be money better spent than giving stuff away. But it it doesn't help the situation that we're constantly spending, which increases the debt that the country has.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that's got me thinking is that, okay, so we associate because it's true. Democrats, building up you know, um, well, like you said, social programs
Hmm.
and progressive ideas, if you will. Like trans in women's sports and stuff like that, and just woke ideology overall.
Hmm.
And I wonder, we talk about manipulation, right? So one team is gotta, come with a certain playbook, and then the other one comes in with another playbook. So you've got what do they say, an antagonist and a
Hmm.
protagonist, antagonist and protagonist, and that's what we get fed is the Democratic Party what they do and the Republican Party what they do, and we happen to align with the Republican Party because we have conservative values, but are they really representing our
Yeah.
conservative values?
Yeah,
And
not always. Mm-mm.
no, I mean, they've got to present that and manage the public opinion in that way, um, instead of solving like root problems, root
Mhm.
causes of problems. Um, Geo did one about a video about immigration. With everything that's going on right now,
Yeah.
and you know, he expressed his belief in, having a road for legal citizenship for people, undocumented people that have been here and have been an asset to, society, um, to this country. And it might be a small percentage of them, but nevertheless, um, we feel like they should have a road path to citizenship, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot, and it's again, it's been our government that's just kicked the can down the road, not fixed anything, have promised repeatedly to fix these issues, and they don't, So it's, a lot of people have been used to come over here, and there's a lot of things that make it complicated, right? That, there are people that do want to come here for a better life. We get that. There's a right way to do it. There's people that get here illegally and then they're exploited because they're getting paid wages that, hey, if they want work and, you know, they get more here than they would in their country, even though it's low for somebody living here, they're going to take it. That's exploitation. That's not, people want to make it seem to be compassionate, but, you know, these people are getting taken advantage of too. So it's a real complicated, system, and people need to see that,
Well, it is complicated. I mean, the machine is complicated, but if you step back and you look at it, it's actually pretty genius and simple in the fact that if they keep the issues alive,
they're good at
uh,
that.
they energize their base, right?
Hmm.
And it keeps the conflict, it keeps the divide and the conquer alive.
Hmm.
Can you imagine if everything was just good? If everything was just going well? It'd be too good. It'd be too calm. They'd be missing out on a lot of profits that they could be making on.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no,
it doesn't pay to solve the issue. It's better, again, for their self-interest and to have something to run on and campaign on and fundraise on. Well, you need something to convince people that, hey, I got to give money to this because this here has to get fixed, right? We have to support these Democrats because they're going to give citizenship to the hardworking people. Or you got the other side. Yeah, we gotta support and donate to the Republicans so that they can, build a wall and do mass deportations. Like,
yeah,
it's the same issue, but nobody solves it. But they continue to gain from it. So yeah, there's no reason for them to actually want to solve problems,
yeah,
because yeah, it'd be, like you said, it'd be too quiet. And then, I'm sure both parties don't want the other party to get the credit for actually solving the problem, because, if this party solved it, they take the credit for it, then they might think, oh man, we're not going to get votes because this party did it.
yeah,
There's a lot, dude. It's crazy. But yeah, it keeps people energized, right? It keeps people involved. They make it about one, yeah, there's a lot of one issue voters that will hang their hat on one issue and just vote on that. You know, there's.
I mean, just look at the environment that we're in right now, right?
Mhm.
Is There's a tax on Christians here
Mm.
as of late. Some, I mean, bad things happen all the time, but starting to see a pattern where Christian churches are being, like,
Attacked.
I can't even think of a word to describe how bad that is. But
Hmm.
you know, yeah, they're just being attacked, and just imagine the divide that that's creating right now, and how many people are falling for that.
Hmm.
Um, it's amazing, man. It's
I mean, we were talking about it too, and it's like even Christians themselves are, in a sense, dividing themselves.
yeah,
You know what I mean? We are talking about it the other day,
hmm
and
hmm
it's like,
different denominations of
yeah,
Christian.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, now is not the time for that. You
That's
know?
a really good point because we're falling into that trap.
Hmm.
We're falling into that trap. So you've got the left and right paradigm. Now, the people on the right are fighting with each other, or not fighting, but not working together or putting each other down.
Hmm.
Um, so now they've got left and right against each other, and
Hmm.
one side can't, you know, agree on what the mission is. Damn, they've got
Hmm.
us all twisted up, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
Got us all twisted up.
it's crazy,
Yeah, I mean,
and they keep things going as usual, right? For them, the,
yep. Hey, we just finished the third quarter right now. They're gonna go, okay. Third quarter's wrapped up. Let's see how we did. Yes, we've got chaos. They're against each other. We continue to take more and more of their tax dollars, and we're funneling it over here. They find out. They don't do shit about it. Okay,
anyways, yeah.
fourth quarter. How much money are we going to steal from them on the fourth quarter? Okay, the new goal is going to be, we're going to increase it by 10%. Everybody good
Hmm.
with that? Hell yeah, let's do it.
Hmm.
And let's see what they bring on the fourth quarter. It's a business to them.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's how it is here in California. Fourth quarter, here's another 50 million in tax money to sue Trump for, I don't know, whatever, wearing a red tie. You know, like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, and it goes back to, they keep things as is. They don't do term limits. They they don't do any campaign finance reform. They don't, you know. I again, I'm gonna have to look that up maybe when we're done. It's like, is there limits on how much a lobby can donate? How many times? You know what I mean? Like, is it per candidate? Do they donate to? It's just, there's no control over that, and it just takes the voice of the people away, because, yeah, we don't have millions or billions of dollars to spend on, on politicians so that they can represent us. What kind of shit is that? It's
Yeah.
like, that's why they're in there. But you get these people with money that take full control of, you know what gets done with these representatives, with these officials, these
But
senators, congressmen.
you know what gets done? At the
Nothing.
end of the day, they stay in control.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So I don't know. I mean, what is it that we're trying to say here, Daniel?
I think that, you know, you change things like that, and it takes power away from them, right? That's what we're saying, and we're saying that at the end of the day, even though it looks like they're fighting on TV, shit, when we're not there, when they're passing the bill at 3 in the morning, it
Yeah.
seemed pretty cool to me.
No, and so that's where my mind has been lately,
Hmm.
is like, um, what do we really have to be paying attention to, and what does real change look like?
Hmm.
Because so when I see clips of a certain representative, you know, standing up to certain bills and stuff like that. And I go, hey, that person is being genuine and they're representing the people.
Mm-hmm.
We can see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we talk about past administrations or even this current administration, I'm not happy with what's happening with Cash Patel and
Bongino.
Bongino, Pat Bondi, and stuff like that. I mean, look, from what I hear, they're doing a lot of good things in other fronts, but what's being presented to us on TV, they're not holding up their end of the bargain on things that they ran on. And
Mm-hmm.
it goes back to the left does it, the right does it. We're just getting played. We're not being told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after these terms are done, the joke is on us because they're still going to be in control. We didn't really fix any root cause issues.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reforms to, like you said, term limits, things that really matter, controls on you know lobbyist groups and stuff like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like if if lobbyist groups are funding candidates, who are these candidates listening to? Let's just use common sense. They're not listening to the people that vote for them.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about how much money influencers are getting paid to post clips, and it's like that's they're getting lobbied to do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting paid to do that. And you know what the sad part about it is that somehow our tax dollars get funneled through some NGO or some other garbage that ends
Mm-hmm.
up paying for that, and our own money is being used against us, and that's from
Mm-hmm.
both sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy and it's true.
But we have to support the representation that we have that is standing up for us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
we have to identify those people, and that goes regardless of party, right? Um, obviously, if you're conservative, then yeah, most likely that person's going to be on the Republican side. But there are Democrats out there too that aren't far left extreme either. There's good people in between. But that's our job to make sure that we're paying attention to who those people are, and to make sure that when those people get voted in, they're actually representing us and not some group behind the scenes that gave them X amount of money, you
yeah,
know? So that's on us to identify those people and identify, I mean, for the most part, the ones that aren't representing you and are doing shady stuff, they'll identify themselves eventually. They'll let us know who they are, and it's our job to pay attention to that so we know, okay, this guy or this lady, no more.
yeah.
So, you
I
know.
think focusing on that is really important. The temperature is really high, um, and I think that's where they want it.
Mhm.
And they're probably sitting there, you know, laughing,
Mhm.
laughing at us, falling for it. And that's what we have to be smart about.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, geez, dude, right now it's like there there's like this sentiment or whatever to, not ask questions right now. You know what I mean? That's
we
weird
should
to
be
me.
asking more and more questions, man.
It we're trying to shut up people that are just asking questions whether you believe that person or not. It's like let people ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, and I'm gonna bet you a lot of the people saying don't ask questions or telling you not to listen to certain people are probably getting paid $7,000 a post
Yeah,
to make you think that somebody else is morally, what did you say earlier?
morally corrupt.
Morally corrupt.
So look, I saw something yesterday where Christians are being persecuted, like in the
I think
thousands.
Nigeria, right? I think it
Syria,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not only there, but just that's the news that I saw. I go through ground news in the morning. I read a little bit of ground news. It's supposed to be like not your leading networks like MSNBC, CNN, and stuff like that. And I saw it there, and what a lot of people don't know is that that's been happening for a very long time. Like when the whole thing was going on with Syria,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, Christians were being persecuted. Churches were being destroyed and stuff like that, and they're erasing history, and we don't even know about it. They don't even report on it. There's no
Mm-hmm.
one paying them $7,000, to post a clip about that. And and it goes back to what we're saying, that falls on both sides, man. If they're not reporting on it or doing anything about it, or the media for that matter, we could go into the media,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we just have to. They've got us in the only way that I can describe it is they've got us in this box or in this fishbowl
Mm-hmm.
that's contained, and they control what we can see in that box, in that fishbowl. And what we have to do is step outside of it, think outside of the box, think outside of that fishbowl that they're trying to contain, they're controlling. um when the Matrix first came out, I love that freaking movie, man. It's literally waking up, taking a red pill, waking up.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't fall for that controlled environment that they have set up for us. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, that's where my mind has been. And I'm wondering if other people feel the same way, if they feel like something's off. We're being manipulated. You and I started this whole thing because of recognizing
Mm-hmm.
manipulation. So um, let's wake up. Let's open
Yeah.
our eyes.
Yeah. No, that's well said. Um, but yeah, just pay attention, right? Pay attention to what's going on with our government, with the content that you're getting. You know, like we said, yeah, we do content, but for the most part, and not for the most part, everything we do is just comes out of the conversations we have, what we see happening in our state, what we see happening federally that might affect us. So, just kind of use discernment with who you follow and make sure they're not getting paid to convince you of something that you might not even believe in, or something that you would normally question yourself. That's just kind of keep that in mind, right? Like you said, don't get put into the fishbowl that they're trying to trap you in.
Yeah, I ain't nobody's goldfish.
Ah, all right, man. Well, that was a good one. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe. Shout out to the people on Instagram. We hit 10,000 followers this past weekend, I think, or Monday. I forget what day it was, but it's pretty cool for us. Again, I feel like we've taken the slow route to that. We don't repost things just to get clicks and follows. Everything we post has been thoughtful, um, and trying to inform people, make people think, um, and that's what we're doing. And thanks to everybody that has followed us, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So we appreciate the support, and yeah, we're here.
Yeah, no, and one of the things that we've been talking about is being proactive. they ram things through, as far as Senate bills or assembly bills and stuff like that, and we find out when it's too late. So one of the things that we're going to be focusing on is being proactive on that. See if
Hmm.
there's anything that we can get ahead of and inform people. So that's what it's all about. It's not what's hot right now. And people like to jump on coattails and oh, this is hot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Nah, we're looking for things that are going to affect us, and things that people we should be aware of and stuff like that. So if you want like fantasy football, like advice, stuff like that, it's not going to be here.
Yeah, it's not gonna be here. If
Yeah,
he just
everybody's like, damn,
yeah,
get off of that fantasy football
if
thing. It's like I got my lineup.
if you're just looking for clips to that we're not gonna repost anything to piss you off. You probably saw it somewhere else already. It's not gonna be on our page. Um, but yeah, we got what I want to say 33, 32 days to a special election here in California that came out of nowhere, was rushed through our legislature, and we gotta make sure that that doesn't pass because it affects our representation, which then affects this whole machine we're talking about with our federal government. So, you know, we want people, we've said this from the get, that represent the people, not the party.
Yeah.
Cool. Mhm. Well, that being said, peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
Till next time.
Where we going? Yeah.